Hello, everyone. Welcome along to this episode where I have a beautiful star sister joining me today, MiSha. We've been on a journey. We connected a few years ago on a beautiful course with a brother Richard that created that, and that was in 2021, I think it was. And
I think so. Yep, that rings a bell.
yeah.
About 3 years.
And we've sat in circle quite often with satsang and sharings and helped and assisted each other's on our journey, and it was a really beautiful connection. And then we've kind of been on our own journeys, exploring different things, and today we're just saying we're reconnecting in this way, maybe for the first time for close to 3 years. So it's wonderful to have you aboard, and really grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much, Jacob. And I'm honored as well. It was nice to receive your message and to reconnect. I was absolutely really happy to hear that you're getting this podcast together. I don't know, it feels like it was long overdue for something. I don't know why. Maybe I was picking that up in the in the higher planes that this was something that was going to happen. But yeah, well done for that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel I can resonate with that. I do have things to share, and I have done that in different platforms and at different times, but it has been a while. I've had a bit of a journey where I haven't been kind of sharing so much and at moments connecting with people, and that's what also resonates with me with this is that we're bringing the tribe together and touching those who are out there and maybe asking questions or wondering what's going on, and even us who we're feeling pretty aware, still asking those questions at times as well.
Oh yeah. There's always questions. But like we were just saying before we got on, we were talking about surrendering. And sometimes that right now with these energies being really, really big, that it's almost like all we can do is flow and connect to the body. So yeah. The rest,
Important, that body part for sure. I feel it's a great they come together really necessarily in these times, that surrender and let's explore that a little bit. What is surrender for you? Do you feel what's surrender?
yeah, well, it's something that I have honestly struggled with. It's been something that through my own experiences in childhood, I I I couldn't surrender. And that was on at every spectrum of what surrender means. And that meant surrender just to life's flow. I used to be like really needing to control everything to feel safe. And I feel like a lot of us with significant trauma in our childhoods, which a lot of people have some sort of trauma, we do have that behavioral pattern, even to the point where, I went on a very deep journey last 12 months or so with shamanic healing and with plant medicine, and I couldn't surrender necessarily even using those. And so I would often have to have really big doses to just like surrender me out. And because the mind hangs on, the negative ego hangs on. And so that's all surrender is like that mind wanting to clench on for safety. Oh, sorry, that's what not being able to surrender is, when you just cling on because you are maybe scared of the unknown. And so we try and keep ourselves safe when when we try to keep ourselves in control. And right now, we just don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like just connect to your body, look after your health, keep your devotion to your spiritual practices, and just let's see if we can flow with whatever God Source has in store for us on this planet.
It is fast. It is fast. Yeah. And we were sharing that as well before we started, how things can show up and you feel, oh yeah, you get this pulling or going to do that. And then it shifts and then you're off somewhere else. And that is, I feel a big part of that surrendering and like you're saying, the body, because you can get pulled in all sorts of directions and lose yourself. And then, you're not really so good at supporting your journey or yourself or the life around you when you're getting pulled in different directions. So that body is a big part.
In fact, it wasn't until I started working more with my body, um, that I started to realize how much more healing that was there in those kind of like deeper layers of the unconscious. And so for me, it was breath work that took me to that level of actually wanting to heal my body a bit more. But I didn't realize how deep it was going to take me. And it took me much deeper than that and took me into a lot of my unconscious trauma. But and on that note, though, there's many people who work with the body primarily, and I used to be this because I used to be a personal trainer. We're really dedicated to our body and our fitness and our health, but then we don't do the emotional, spiritual work and the mental work. So it's just like all angles need to be met. Like it's really holistic, and I think right now, like we were talking about before, we can spend a lot of time out there, like in the higher dimensions, but unless we're bringing that down into our body and connecting, then we're not going to get like that embodiment. And if we're focusing too much here and not enough with the other stuff, then we're not going to access our higher self at all. So um, we have to work with all facets of the healing for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That is really important, and I guess that's you're just hinting on the touching on that balance. They're bringing that balance in, and because we are so many bodies, and we have to honor them all. We can't leave any of them behind.
Exactly. I mean, this healing path it is not, it's not for the faint-hearted. That's what I found out. But it's really, but you've got to do it at some point. So if you're getting that soul's call to do it, like just be patient with yourself. I'm still having to be patient with myself. It's full on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because there's times where you think, oh yeah, I've cleared that out, or I feel good, and then you have a breather, and then something else just shows up. You just go into the next thing and the next thing. However, I feel the more we do it, the more we step into it, the easier it gets in the sense of we have more tools, we've cleared out more of the stronger densities, and um, yeah, we create an environment that supports us around us. We get to know actually what does support me and what doesn't. So that's a big part of it as well.
That's true. We do have more tools, and so long as we are using them, and I think that's part of the embodiment process too. Like, there's no point just having all of these things that we know in our mind. We have to have practical, applicable tools that we use, which is another, it's another thing with working with the body. Um, the spiritual path can be very juicy to the mind. Like there's so much information, and we can stay in that realm when we first awaken, but that really can create all kinds of bypassing issues for sure.
Yes, yeah. It's like we were sharing before. It's so easy to stay up there when you know how to connect, and that you can just go there, and you can just ignore what's actually more important, and being asked to be looked at, and we know on our journey, it is absolutely vital to have the embodiment aspect of it. We are on Earth, it's a body, we're into those realms. We have to bring all those codes down and anchor them in because that's where the potential is. That's where they serve. Not being away somewhere else. They're not so helpful in assisting in the evolution that we're here in with the new Earth timelines.
Not, yeah, not at all. And with you saying that, being away somewhere else, triggered a thought in me that, and of course, this is something that, came very clear to me when I was doing like a lot of shamanic work. When away somewhere else, then who's going to be in the body? And that vessel is available for for other beings to come in, and there are many beings that want to be in our bodies. There are many spirits and beings that would love to have this experience, and so not necessarily good ones as well, but it leaves us open and vulnerable. So it's another reason why embodiment is important. It's important for our safety as well, because when you're on a spiritual path, you are accessing lots of different dimensions and realms and beings, particularly the astral plane. So yeah, you don't want to go off flying too high and leave everything behind unattended, vacated.
No, not at all. Yeah. I mean, I still hear people talk of having out of bodies experiences, and I think, well, yeah, I can have an out of body experience. And well, I'm still connected with my body, I can still very much explore those realms and still be aware that I'm sitting in this chair at this table in this room. Um,
Yeah, exactly. That's spot on. That's the thing. You don't have to go completely um out. And that's the more you connect with your body and start to, really feel in somatically what's going on in the body, the more you will keep that connection when you're doing the high level work. In fact, I was lucky when I first started learning healing work again. When I'd say I've had two awakenings, because my first one, I was very young. I was in my early 20s and I wasn't mature enough to really stay on the path. I got, yeah, swept away with a lot of partying and like just, things that you do at that age. And I came back at like 43 was when I woke up again properly. And the teacher that I found, that my soul led me to, was very much about doing really deep work, but she was all about body presence. And she was always about tuning into the body wisdom. So that was the first person that taught me anything. And I'm grateful. And even though I can't say I followed it all the time, but that your first mentor kind of always, their wisdom always stays with you. So, and she is a really high level healer, and she's all about doing that embodied. So, and with the women that I work with now, mostly I work with women, I work with men too, but the biggest thing that they struggle with, and that I also struggled with, is a disconnection to their womb. One of the biggest aspects of the feminine body. So there's a lot of it's because there's a lot of healing down here to be done,
yeah.
try and sort of avoid it. I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, how about you explore that with us and take us on a wee journey with the womb and healing, and yeah, that journey of embodying that aspect of ourselves, especially for the divine feminine.
Yeah, well, stop me if I go on too much of a tangent here, okay? Because I'm prone to tangents. But I think, it was definitely the piece of my own healing that I'd bypassed and overlooked. And because, like we were saying before, like I didn't even realize that I was bypassing, but I was just accessing all this really beautiful high vibrationary um, light and energy, and getting pretty good results with my healings and whatnot. But my nervous system and my body was telling a different story. It still was giving me issues. And so I'd done a lot of the mind and the emotional healing. I'd helped my body to some degree, but I hadn't really connected to the sacral. And I did, like when I worked with people, I did sometimes get told, there's sacral blockages there, and root chakra blockages. And I knew that I couldn't get my full Kundalini, past that. So anyway, I did feel a very strong call to journey with ayahuasca last year. And one sort of group of ceremonies, which was 4 ceremonies in one round, I ended up doing 3 of those. I ended up sitting with ayahuasca last year 12 times in about 6 months. So really quickly. And beautiful shamans that I met in Brisbane, a few hours away from me. And it was through that call from Mama Ayahuasca and through those sessions that I learned to what was really hidden down there. And there was some really awful childhood sexual abuse. And as women and men, I guess we know that there's something, even if we can't remember. And I was very young when it happened, so there was no way I was going to remember. But of course, our body, this is why another important thing, our body knows, our body remembers the trauma, it holds it. And so, yeah, through that's why I couldn't surrender. That's why I was always wanting to hold on and control things. And so I needed to sort of look at that. So I worked with psilocybin, I worked with toad medicine, and I worked with obviously ayahuasca. Then I stopped all of the plant medicine because I knew, okay, I need to integrate all of that now. And I went deeply, deeply, deeply into the womb, and I'm still on that journey now. Doing a little bit of a scene tantra with a woman at the moment, a lot of yoga, working with the womb, a lot of journeys in there, breath work still, and yeah, just unveiling the mysteries, the feminine mysteries, working with Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and but not going too far up with that, it's just like staying really embodied when I work with them. And now I am so passionate about doing that work with other women because I feel like it's a missing piece for a lot of women. And I know also a lot of women have done the work on the womb, but my clients tend to want to leave it. They're always a little bit, no, let's not. They want to work on the heart, or they want to work on the third eye, or they want to work on the light body in general. But the womb is a place of, well, it's a place of deep mystery, actually. And so it's mysterious because it stores a lot of our trauma. And underneath that, though, there's magic. Yeah, there's lots of magic. We got to access the trauma to bring out the magic, though.
Mm, yeah, well, that is it, isn't it? That's the gateway for the light, isn't it?
It's a gateway, yeah, it's a portal. And men have got their own issues with this chakra, this energy center as well, of course. And through my journey and through a lot of study I've done, um, I realized that there's a lot of implants that we hold there. So we hold a lot of tags, a lot of implants, a lot of infiltration, men and women. We have each like a set that we hold onto that have been with us through multiple lifetimes, and that has helped perpetuate the trauma. And these implants and seals and things are usually in the grids, and they holographically project into our light body. And so we have to go in and do that sacral work and do the clearing. Yeah, because sexuality is it's a big topic on this planet, and it's been used as a way to perpetuate trauma. So we can't really come into our Christed feminine, divine aspects, masculine or feminine, until we go and do that sacral work, is my understanding.
And is that you've experienced that personally yourself and with your clients?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And even my partner now, who's realizing that there's sacral work that he needs to do and wants to do. But yeah, a lot with my clients. And so there'll be a lot of sticking points through the journey, and they get stuck. And so the womb is often where we get stuck. And if we get stuck really significantly there, then we're stuck in a victim consciousness too, because that second dimension is, the pain body. It's where our victimization has mostly happened for men and women. And if our consciousness gets stuck there, then we can't actually embody, like we were saying before, we want to embody the higher consciousness and bring it down into the physical. Well, first we need to have that Kundalini properly raise up, and then we want to bring it down. And we can't do that until we've accessed what's in the womb to heal. And it's not always sexual abuse, but let's be real, the planet has dealt with a lot of sexual misery programming. Even if you haven't had sexual abuse per se, everyone's experienced sexual misery, trauma on some level.
Yeah, for sure. It has been everywhere for eons. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and we are all connected. So um, yeah, it's a biggie. So it's beautiful that you've found that through your journey, and know that that's your calling. And it's interesting how without you knowing these things, like even your first teacher, perfect, just exactly how she teaches, what she's about, is
Mm.
like what you're going to be being and bringing through, and knowing that that's super important. So I love how spirit works in that way as well.
It always gives us the answers, but we're not always listening, at the right in the right way, let's say, because maybe, yeah, because even in 2021, I worked with a woman, just briefly. I think I just had one session with her, and she said to me, "Oh, you're here to heal the dark feminine persecution wounds and bring it into divinity again." And back then I was so light. I was like, dark feminine. What are you talking about? I don't have any dark feminine. But it's still since then. And so I came back around to that woman and I studied a lot with her actually, because she was the first person that saw that in my field. And her name's Indigo Angel, by the way. You might have heard of her. So she's pretty well known in the States for her work on the divine feminine and just healing women from implants and things like that. She just does a lot of good work. It's her main thing now. But yeah, so I was in a meditation and like dropped in that I needed to go back and connect with her. And I was like, 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was, you told me this, and I just ignored it because I wasn't ready to embody. I didn't know about my own traumas to that level yet. And so yeah, there's been a lot of persecution of the feminine, of course. And so and I'm also really big on not blaming the masculine, because we can go wayward with that divine feminine journey. And the masculine also have been persecuted and programmed. And it's through beyond the masculine is like that. I call them the funny bunnies, like, because I want to give them a funny name, but the dark controllers, whatever you want to call them, that, have infiltrated our grid so much. And they're all about toxic patriarchy. So, of course, they've used the men to bring that energy through to persecute and suppress the women, because the women hold the portal of creation in their womb. So it's not the male's fault in any means. And that's why we can't go about our healing the feminine journey by blaming men. And it's very tricky territory, but I think we're really, it's a big thing that's happening right now. Like, it's come back around, and I think it's very, very full stage, center stage right now. Well, for my work it is anyway, and I'm noticing a lot of people needing to go there.
Men and women.
Well, yes, but men and women. Yes, I'd say yes, actually. I'd say actually, in a lot of ways, like, the women have been doing it for a while. Whether they've been doing it in a really Christed way or not, it doesn't really matter, because I think it's part of the journey we navigate. Sometimes we go and try and heal our feminine by being hypersexual and trying to take our power back. And I wouldn't say it's the right way to do it, but maybe that's part of the journey. And then it goes back around, so we find our center. But the men, I feel like, are waking up. There's a new wave of the male awakening now. And it's, yeah, there's a lot more men's work, but also men getting triggered by the divine feminine. And I don't know if you've seen that with any brothers, but yeah, just even that term can kind of trigger, I think. But yeah, it's a misunderstood term, I think. But I feel like it's definitely, it comes in waves. I think at the moment a big upshift of the male healing is happening.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel so as well. I can feel that because it's just about bringing everything online, isn't it? Bringing it into harmony, and the new earth energetics are all about that. We can't have a lot of women fully in their embodiment of who they are, truly knowing who they are and aligned and purposeful, and the men are still kind of figuring it out. And and it's been quite a journey. I feel like what I've observed with myself being in a man's body is, you know, to find people to work with in those areas, and I have my own journey with that whole sexual wound as well, and I wasn't aware of it for many years, even though I had and like you say, yeah, it's like feeling of maybe something that when I looked at my background and family, I was just like, well, it's not possible. But I had a period where my mum who really severely hurt her back, and she couldn't look after me as a baby, and I was given to a family to be cared for 3 or 4 months, and then things happened in that house. And it just, when you get to that space and place where you can receive that and you're ready for that, and you can do the work, well, even before the work, I found it just made a lot of clarity in my choices and expression and how I was with my energy and things like that. And I think that in itself is transformational, you
Yeah,
know.
wonderful. I mean, it's not wonderful that it happened, but it's part of your journey. And that is going to be obviously the healing from that. We hold that in our frequency once we've really made peace with that and let that go. But yeah, it happens to more men than we realize as well. It's not just
Yeah.
obviously feminine, and it's through just misuse of sexual energy and trauma that's perpetuating down and down and down and down. And that, yeah, it's a perversion that runs through the
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah.
We do need to
Yeah.
heal in a big way. I mean, I feel like sacred sexuality is what's going to be taking a focus next as the masculine start to come online and the feminine have been online, but still not. We're still doing our healing. Eventually, we're going to have this conversation, and I'm starting to bring it up more with my small circles and stuff. But that, what is sexual energy? How can it be misused? How potent is it? What is destroying it, and what can we do differently to harness this energy? Because it's got so much creative potential, so much spiritual potential.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. And do you find what part does Mother Earth play in that energy?
I feel like Mother Earth, and this might be a little bit controversial, has her own wounds with this, um, that she's healing from. Because I mean, we're on her planetary body,
Yeah.
creating like with all of these distortions. So, I think she's had her wounds. Sometimes, some areas she's really fertile, in others she's really barren. Um, and no doubt she's got her own relationships that she's been involved in, but perhaps with other planetary bodies. I had a download quite a long. I don't know when it was. I don't know. It wasn't too long ago. Maybe 6 to 9 months ago. About this, that Mother Earth had relationship issues with another planet in our Milky Way. Sorry, in our solar system. She's got her consciousness too. Like we're playing out in this on this stage, and there's another stage being played, and it's really just layers and layers. So I feel like she's got trauma not only from passed down through like what we're doing, but also from what her actions have maybe been. And she did allow herself to fall so that we could have this experience, I feel. And now so she's got to allow, like we chose our parents to have those particular traumas. Well, she allowed herself to fall. So, but I feel like, so I'm not sure if that's kind of what you meant with the question, but I just wanted to add that. But I feel like what I will say is that working with her is very healing to that wound. In fact, if we are like, it's just back to the embodiment again, like going and working with her, sitting with nature, being in nature, connecting with it's really simple, just I've got a little outdoor temple now that I knew I needed because I needed to heal my earth and my root chakra. So going out there and doing my breath work or just doing my yoga out there and amongst the trees, and she's a real healing energy that we can call upon to heal these wounds and all of our wounds, really. I know the Australian Aboriginal people, I don't know if they're all the tribes, but they often will cast their burdens and cast their worries to a rock or to a tree. Um,
Wow.
yeah, because maybe they feel that that tree and that rock can hold that better than them, or can transmute it down into the earth. And then, in a lot of shamanic practices, you also give those things to the earth to transmute, and so that she could bring that back as a new creation
Hmm.
as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, using water, using fire, using the elements, very healing for this. I've often write stuff that I want to purge and I'll throw it to the fire, So yeah, working with the earth energies for sure. Um,
Because we are nature, aren't we? So that's the thing. I mean, I feel whatever star you want to connect with that you come from or whatever I feel we still birth through Mother Earth, even though we have our biological parents and everything. And so you know, of course, working with the elements, you know, that is us. So that's, and then again, that feels like that's the embodiment that we're talking about that is required to ascend as such, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. Flower essences. I remember when I was going deep through some of my healing work, I couldn't release the emotions, and a lady here gave me a really potent mix. She's like, I'm going to lead you into a healing crisis with this, you know, because that's what you need. And she gave me flower essences, and bang, you know, like something seemingly so sweet as flower essences, but yeah, we have kind of everything we need here to heal, and that's the idea. Um, if we tap into it.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and do you find, do you know, actually with those Aboriginal tribes, do they ask permission as such with the rock or anything like that? Or was that not part of
I
how
don't
they
know.
work?
Yeah, yeah, don't know about that. I mean, um, it just I learned that information when I was back in Melbourne and I was working with a lot of Indigenous people in the inner city because there was a bit of a population there. I had a few Indigenous clients, and yeah, one of my Indigenous clients told me that he was a bit more connected to country and connected to their community than others. Had said, "Oh, you know, this is what my grandma and my uncle and so on. This is what they teach us to do, and this is what we do when we're feeling sad." I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah,
It's, it's not like, here, Rock, you just take that. There'll be like a dialogue, and I would imagine, but permission, I'm not sure. I know in a lot of shamanic practices, we do ask permission,
hmm,
even to take a feather off the ground. You know, you want to have that communication with that item. There's still life in it, so you ask Mother Earth, "Can I have this feather for my wand that I'm going to make?" Or a shell from the beach. Like, it's, we need to ask permission. And if we receive a yes, that's all good. But like, I feel like we've been so busy just taking, that it is a nice practice.
it is. Yeah, and I like what you say there, even though it's not nice. But yeah, we have been so busy taking, and and within that, we're not aware of how much she's giving. You know, and that's the important part. That is to honor her because she's just constantly giving. You know, and I had quite a journey with the whole permission thing. You know, I know I'm not saying there's a right way or wrong way, and the way the Aboriginals do it in their way is perfect. And I know they would honour a rock or a tree or whatever for sure because they have such an incredible connection with Mother Earth and everything. And but yeah, I had a classic one. I just did my Reiki 2, and I was driving from where I did it back to home, and there was a forest in between me, and wanted to go for a walk to just integrate the energies and things. And I come across a possum with a broken leg, and I was like, "Oh, cool! You know, I can give you a healing. You know, this is all synchronized beautifully." And I went to give it a healing and nothing was happening. And I was like, hmm. And then my head come in and, you know, and then I just kind of reset myself and went again and no, nothing happened. And so I said, oh, okay, sorry. I'll just go for my walk like I was. And again, I'll put in this, you know, thing that if you're still here, I can give you a healing. So I went for my walk and I come back and the possum was still there. And okay, cool. Yeah. So I believe, yeah, it's all good. And got myself prepared and went to give some energy and nothing was happening again. And then I just asked the question, I go, so what's happening? And then the possum said, you haven't asked permission. And I was like, oh, I haven't, sorry. I'm really, thank you for letting me know that. And I said, can I give you a healing? And he said, no, this is my journey. And I was like, okay, thank you. That was huge for me, you know?
That is, yeah, absolutely. So many times we just want to run to the rescue and send our energy. And I think, you know, that's with people, with animals, with everything we have to ask, you know, otherwise it's unsolicited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes from the wrong place, you know?
Mhm. What a
So it's,
beautiful lesson though. Like, that's a profound lesson.
yeah, very much. I was really grateful, you know, because like I find when I'm called to a place as well, I had for many years even, I would say, you know, not constantly, but for on and off through them, I feel this sense of going to this piece of land or to this water and doing some energy work. and I had this belief that that was my permission. I can just go and turn up and then just start doing some work. And again, one time I got the slap. Actually, I was with my partner at the time, and she wasn't called to come. It was just me, and I went and worked, and I come back, and she, she said, "How'd it go?" And I went, "Yeah, it was good. You know, I actually ended up in the ocean with all my clothes on and did some work and da da da. But it's okay and all that." And she said, "You didn't ask permission." And I said, "Well, I thought I had permission. Hang on, let me say, yeah. What do you mean?" She said, "Well, the ancestors of this place, the Kaitiaki, who guard this place, turned up and said to me, 'Hey, he hasn't asked permission.'"
Yeah.
And she said, also, like, if you did ask permission, we could work with you, and then the work would be even more profound. We could do a lot more. And I was like, "Oh, another beautiful lesson. Thank you."
Absolutely, that's beautiful. Yeah. I love that. I must admit, like when I'm down in my little healing space, and I did ask permission and see if that was the right place, but I sing to the land a lot. I'll do light language, and it always gets well received. But I'm not necessarily doing it to heal, but just as a devotional practice. So I feel like yeah, not to worship the earth, but just to give her thanks. And so I do think she likes song and dance, and we can dance the land, we can sing the land. Um, but yeah, I guess healing is a whole different thing. It can be quite invasive, I suppose. So yeah, that's a really good point. That goes not just with people, but for for everything,
Yeah,
animals, the land.
yes, yes, all of it. Like you say, yeah,
Okay.
it just picking up that feather because we can go, "Oh, there's a feather for me. There's a message." Oh, and maybe say thank you, but just pick it up and think that's okay. And I love how you said, "Well, just stop and go. Can I have you, feather? Can you come with me? Are you for me? I'd like to do this with you. Is that okay?" I think that's really, yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Mm. Yeah. Wow. What I love that. And then these are practices that we can implement straight away. They make such a big difference. They're simple things just to be in more like alignment with mother.
Yes, yeah, and like you say, it's about simplicity, isn't it? We are simple in nature, so let's just make things simple, and then that connection and that interaction is I think enhanced, or it's more clear, shall we say? Um, I I like what you say about singing and dancing with the land, and I think that's really quite special as well because I feel also the land responds to that. And if you take people who like use dowsing rods, I think of Barry Brailsford, who's well known in New Zealand, an archaeologist who become an author and worked with Waitaha and everything. And he became a good friend of mine. We hung out a few times, and they would go into trees and they'd douse and feel the radials and the energy and the aura of the tree and map it out, and get a shape and then really honor the tree and thank it and communicate with it and then come back and do it all again and it had just grown. It had, instead of 5 points, it had 9 points, or instead of being out to 4 or 5 meters from the tree, it was 10 meters or something. So the tree had been given life in a sense just through saying thank you and honoring it for the beautiful being it is.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, they do. They really, we do not give them enough credit and thanks. And I feel like it totally changes our flow when we do start to do that. Not that we're doing it for our own path. It should be done with sincerity, but it just like then there's this mutual reciprocity like that happens through that exchange. And yeah, like I know my partner, there's a gum tree out there that we just couldn't we needed him not to grow because he's right in the kind of frame of the shed. And if he kept growing, he was gonna like take out the structure. And so Yum's very connected to the garden and to what's happening out there. And so he just has been like talking to him. This is months ago. He said, "Look, mate, if it's okay, if you could just, I don't want to have to cut you down. I really like you and I want to keep you here. We want you to stay, but if you could just hold off on the growing." And so he stayed exactly the same size it must have been when I first met Guillaume, so maybe 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's worked, you know. It's like it's the gum tree is totally honoring. And you know, if we end up moving and this place goes to somewhere, you know, another buyer or something, then whatever maybe he can start growing again, or you know, until that person realizes that, you know, there needs to be a relationship that we have. So
Mm.
yeah, I think we can have a relationship with, you know, with the when you're dieting plants as well, even the ones that are not psychoactive, of course. Like I diet with rose a lot. There's a relationship that gets formed. Um, yeah, it's important. It's another thing that we can do, but it's very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it is exactly. That's beautiful. He does that, and yeah, it is. It's just honoring them as a living being, isn't it? And having a conversation as you would with another human being. You wouldn't, you know, just walk into their space and take something or whatever. You know, you would
Yeah, exactly.
have a conversation. So let's do that. Yeah, it's beautiful. I've had times where I've connected with a bush, and I'm like, oh, I want to wave, you know, honor you and give you a good wave, and then the bush has gone straight back as well, you know, and then you really feel that, oh, like, oh, you know, and as you're honoring them, they're honoring you, you know, that's the beautiful thing in it as well, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's they've got spirit, you know, and it's really real. When you put the effort into have that connection, you'll honestly you'll feel that and see that in many ways straight away. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and with you leaving with that gum tree, it's like it's that you're the guardians of the space, so you have that relationship with the tree. So when you leave, those people will have their relationship with it, and everything there, and their just their journey will come with them into their space. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully they'll, you know, you always hope that whoever comes onto the land is going to love the land the way, you know, you did, but that's all part of everyone's journey with the land. And um yeah, and wherever we go, I just know that we'll continue that, because I think, you know, having a relationship with the land is very much an embodiment, part of our embodiment. So
Mhm.
it definitely grounds us into feeling like, wow, we're on a planetary body. That tree has a body, we have a body. You know, we're made of substance and we're made of the same stuff. And it's pretty, and you know, when if we decompose, we go into that soil and become that soil, and then new trees and new things. And you know, so it's beautiful. It's a beautiful process. And I don't know, but I feel like that's I'm seeing a lot more now on, I guess social media is the only thing I've got to gauge by as a like a the broader collective of our spiritual, you know, brothers and sisters. But I feel like that embodiment piece is really strong right now, as with the divine masculine and that sacred sexuality. Like it's all part of the same sphere of you know, raw grounded spiritual work. You know, it's in on this earth plane that we're dealing with, and I feel like that's really huge now, and a lot of people are getting the memo. And I feel like we're real in that piece where we're realizing, because the energies are hitting us so hard that if we're not we're feeling it in our bodies, so it's like a reminder to go, whoa. Look after the body.
For sure, yeah, because then you're like a tree in the wind, and you're getting waved around and all that, and if you're not connected to that the trunk and the roots, then yeah, what's going to happen with you? You know, you're going to get broken and fall off or blown away and things like that. So, and
Mm.
I feel that, you know, just and even in everyday conversations, sometimes I find myself getting pulled up, or even just going out there, and then I'm like, yeah, no, you've got to bring it back. Just bring it back in, you know. Just come back in here and just talk from this place, from the root, you know, from the centered aspect of myself, you know, because yeah, I feel you can easily just tap into those energies, and you're gone, you know, off you go, you know.
Mm.
And that doesn't do you any good when you go out. You have to go to the supermarket or something like that. It's you invite lots of things into your
Yeah.
reality.
Especially when we have these big energies, because everything's just like coming in to purge things out. So everyone, like, it's pretty hectic out there sometimes. So I know it's constant work to be in the body and anchored in like it really it's constant consciousness. Yeah, so
So with you, you've got your breath work like what and body. So you do like do you work with the body in sense of getting a massage, doing yoga or some other form of stretching like that, or do you find actually just doing some good physical work of some kind, like or all of them? Yeah.
for my own personal healing and yeah, well-being, absolutely all of it. In fact, because I see a lot of my clients online, I do see them in person as well. Sometimes it's like I can be in front of the computer for too long. And then when I go outside and help Guillaume with something physical, because he's often in the garden, it's like, oh, that feels better. I need to do more of this. But like tonight I'm off to yin yoga, so I'm really in that space at the moment of really slowing down. So yoga, um body work, absolutely. It's still like I'm very particular about the body work, but I think it's really important because there's a lot of energy transfer. But yeah, we need
Mhm.
that, and I need that at the moment. I'm noticing a lot of stubborn aches and pains that need my attention. So if stuck energy is there, then we need to do the emotional work, but we need the body work to kind of flow that and help us flow that energy out. And I do like pranayama, yeah, most days if I can. And then I do big breath work journeys as well. So, but even sometimes lying down and connecting,
Mhm.
just touching the body, listening, what does it need today? I'm starting to do that a lot more. And I feel like that's a really worthwhile practice. That if there's a pain or tension, like trying to ask it what's going on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What are you
feel that.
trying to tell me?
Yeah, exactly. It wants to tell us something. So yeah,
And
it's
the
not
thing is, actually, I find when I just caught myself saying that, and I sat with that the other day when I said, "What are you trying to tell me?" And I was like, "No, it's not trying to tell you anything. It is telling you." You
hard.
know, it's got the intelligence. It's me that needs to trying to receive it or hear it or honor it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just ongoing stuff. I know with most of us, galactic beings, that we're quite uncomfortable in the body, so we've got to work extra hard to do that work. But it shifts us so much more quickly and profoundly when we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh, beautiful. Feel this is a really important one, and really nice to share and hear your journey in relation to it all and everything. And is there anything, yeah, you would like to just share with the audience before we finish up?
Oh, I think we've covered a really good array of stuff, which has been amazing.
Yeah.
No, I just say to the feminines out there, be patient with the masculines, and to the masculines, like yeah, like be gentle with the feminines if you can, but like we just gotta be gentle with each other. I feel like this all comes from a separation wound at the core of it, which has led to this unworthiness, which has then led to kind of division. It's just another form of separation. So once we start to heal this unworthiness that we're all carrying, um, we can reunite, and when men and women can come back to like just being completely united again. And I think we really need to go easy on each other for the next few months, because they're really rocky. It's really crazy out there energetically. And yeah, let's stay in our body. That will be the best anchor, like we've been
Mm.
talking about. So awesome that this all came up. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, it's been really a nice journey that we've traveled on and shared today. So I'm really grateful to connect with you again, sister, and thank you for yeah, your heart and your love and light and transparency as well. I feel that you're very open and honest, and I think it's a wonderful tool to have and very big part of the embodiment as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for seeing me in that. I appreciate it so much. Thanks, Jacob.
Awesome, you're welcome. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hope you've enjoyed, and I love you, and I wish you well, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Mhm.